What's up, everybody? We're back for the top 10 rarest Star Wars The Clone Wars figures review. I'm really excited to make this video. It was super fun. All the research that went into it, and just finding the crazy dollar amounts for this stuff it just makes your mind go crazy, man. But without further ado, we're gonna go from number 10 all the way to the top most expensive, rarest Star Wars The Clone Wars figure of all time. All right, guys. So to start it off, if you can believe it or not, at our number 10 spot, we have the Star Wars The Clone Wars Phase 2 Clone Trooper. This figure was released in late 2012 and ran through about 2014. Disney acquired Star Wars around 2015, so the toy lines were basically pushed to extinction. So you could probably still find these in stores all throughout for another year after it was done. But these figures are now quite rare, believe it or not, being just a standard trooper. And they go for about $60 to $80 in today's market. So a figure that used to be $10 to $8 is now somehow $60 to $80. I wouldn't recommend paying more than $50 for this figure in particular, but because it's so sought after, primarily because of the Bad Batch, because the animation style continued not only after season 7 of the Clone Wars, but into the Bad Batch, where the white clone trooper was utilized a little bit more. Therefore, I believe that pushed a lot of collectors to find that art style, because Hasbro is really no longer making figures that have the Clone Wars likeness, because they do the realistic adaptation of each character in the vintage collection. So the Clone Wars art stylization is become very rare. This is the Phase 2 Clone Trooper. Let's give him a quick overview. Easily customizable, as you guys have seen on this channel. Very awesome. All right, time to move to figure number 9. All right, everybody. The next figure up you'll be seeing on the screen, I do not own this one yet. It is a bounty hunter, and this bounty hunter's name is Serapis. You would have seen this character in season 2 in a bounty hunters episode where the notorious trio of Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka meet this farm village who do not defend themselves very well, and those farm people have hired these bounty hunters to protect them from Hondo Anaka and his pirate gang. This figure quickly became a very sought-after figure just because it appeared in one episode. The figure itself is actually so cool. It's like a mechanized suit as seen in the show. It comes with a little alien guy. This figure will run you anywhere between $80 and $95, whether it's loose or in box. All right, everybody, on to number 8. All right, everybody, moving on to number 8. The amazing ARC Troopers. This goes for all 4 of them. I have 3 out of 4. I still need Havoc. I know I definitely would have been smoked if I didn't add these to the list. These are extremely sought after figures. They are so amazing, very well detailed, all around a really good figure. This figure was single packed. I chose this one because it didn't come in a battle pack. So I feel like this one could have been a little bit easier to acquire at the time, but obviously these figures go for the same amount regardless of what and where you find them. This is Commander Colt. Overall, an amazing figure. These figures individually, from what I have seen on all secondary markets, they go for anywhere between $85 and $100 per figure. Crazy. But it gets crazier. Moving on to number 7, Evan Peel. Notably seen on the Citadel arc one of the best arcs in all of the show. Such a cool character, was killed off in that arc, so that absolutely sprung this character up to becoming rare, on top of not being heavily circulated as well in the subline that it came out in. This figure goes for anywhere between $90 and $115. Very cool figure. Eventually I will open him up for display, but for now he is going to remain in his plastic prison. All right, on to number 6. None other than Commander Bly himself. Very cool figure. Such a hard figure to find. It came out in season 1, and he was only ever in that 2-episode arc when they crashed on the planet with the Lurman. And this figure clearly needs no introduction in the rarity scale. It goes for anywhere between $90 and $125. And you won't find it cheaper than that anywhere, whether it's loose or on card. I know a lot of people really enjoyed this character because he's one of the many from the original trilogy. Such a great figure. Highly recommend. All right, now on to number 5. The Riot Control Clone Trooper. Only seen in one episode, one of the many forms of the Coruscant Guard, Senate Security, however you'd like to call them, all Phase 1 before they all transitioned into the Phase 2 armor, and they converged into just shock troopers. So that was the Universal New Legion of Coruscant. But before then, we saw many different iterations of Senate Security, Coruscant Guard types. This figure will run you anywhere between $100 to $120 on secondary market. All right, we are now on number 4. A very cool dynamic duo in the Clone Wars, none other than Boost and Sinker. These figures are considered to be extremely rare because they only appeared in one battle pack, and that is that 4-pack with them two, Commander Wolf, and Plo Koon. It was a gift set released around the time that the Phase 2 clones and later season figures were being released, and at that point they were already on their way out when the show was being canceled in season 5. So these figures were in and they were out just as fast. I was lucky enough to have this battle pack as a kid, but nowadays I wouldn't even bother buying it because it is too much money. Now, for the prices for Boost and Sinker individually, they go for anywhere between $100 and $135 each. Crazy. Another fun fact about these two figures is they are only one of 2 Clone Legions that got any repaints in this line. So that certainly pushes them up the scale of rarity. Number 3 comes in as Darth Sidious. This figure released in the early red packaging and was so rare I never even knew it existed until later years of collecting as an adult. I always thought they just never made a Palpatine figure, but I was extremely wrong. They did make his character, but it was in that same red style packaging as Commander Bly, so that's a great indication of just how rare those lines were at the time, only released in certain areas in very low quantities. It goes anywhere between $150 and up. All right, in our number 2 spot, one of the most beloved characters in all of Star Wars, Ahsoka Tano. She is such a great character. She has so much character development throughout the series. A very much hated character in the beginning, but now loved by all. This figure dawns her Phase 2 appearance. That's what I call it. So this figure was very rare to come by at the time because they made so many different Ahsokas and they were just re-releasing her Phase 1 appearance too many times in all these different lines. So this specific appearance did not appear in any other line other than the one she was released. So this will match the astronomical price of this figure. This figure goes on the low end for starting at 150, but easily reaches 200 and up on the secondary market. But now we will move into our number one most expensive / rare Star Wars The Clone Wars figure ever made. Coming in to our number one spot, which should be no surprise to all, is none other than the 501st Jet Trooper. At the time, this character was only seen in that season 5 beginning episode where it's Ahsoka's last arc, where she is framed for the bombing of the Jedi Temple. You briefly see them in the gunship, and you don't see them again until a season 7 episode, final 4 episodes on the bridge. Back to how rare it is, this figure is in fact so rare, it was only released in Canada, so it wasn't even released in the United States, that immediately made it so sought after for any collector because, like Sinker and Boost, we have never gotten a repaint of any clone in any Legion. So this character was quite literally the only 501st styled character to come out in this wave. So everybody wanted it, but the price is the most shocking. You will not find this figure cheaper than $200. That is the starting point to find this character. And at this point in time, there really isn't anybody that owns this character or figure that doesn't know what it is. So the odds of finding it at a garage sale or something of the sort is just out the window. Nonetheless, one of my favorite figures in my collection, just because it's the top rarest on my list. And yes, I will say this is the top rarest Clone Wars figure of all time, just because of the price point. No other character in any line of the Clone Wars reaches $200 to start, nor was it only made in one country. All right, everybody, I hope you really enjoyed the video. It was super fun making, like I said. Pretty sure the collection over here is a little jealous that they weren't all in the top 10, but there's room for them. You know, there's room. I'm sure that some of you might have your own top 10 lists. I don't know. I'd love to hear them in the comments. Let me know what you guys like, what your figures are. If you saw something or didn't see something, let me know, and I'll be happy to talk figures with you guys. It's always fun engaging with everybody in the comments, and just thank you again for the amount of engagement and just overall support for the last video. It's really cool to see that on the channel. I really love talking about this stuff with everybody, and I will go and I'll reply to every comment no matter what. So just let me know what you guys thought, and give me tips. If you think I could be doing something better, just let me know. And I'm sure that there's other parts of the collection room that you'd like to see, or different figure reviews. Drop them in the comments. And like always, guys, we'll see you later. Peace.